This situation just keeps getting weirder and weirder, revolving around John Klingberg and the Toronto Maple Leafs, and brand new reports suggest that he could be on his way out of Toronto. So I'm going to break that down in this episode of Leafs Digest, as well as discuss his injury further in depth and why this situation just keeps getting stranger. So we're going to break all that down, but before we do, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. Scroll down, we noticed 76% of you guys who are watching this video right now are not subscribed. We produce daily Leafs content, sometimes even twice a day, and we're on the road to 5,000 subscribers. So it means the world if you'd help us reach that 5,000 subscriber goal. And thank you again for your continued support. All right, let's get into it. This John Klingberg situation is getting weirder and weirder. Every single time Sheldon Keefe has to talk about Klingberg, he gives a vague answer. He is supposedly traveling to Sweden, but it's unlikely he's going to play tomorrow afternoon in Sweden. And then now a brand new report suggests that he could be and most likely is getting traded. So it's just super weird. The Leafs news has been a bit weird lately because of the lack of games, because of obviously the weird scheduling with, again, traveling to Sweden. But this report just came out 3 hours ago from JD Bunkies and the Myrtle podcast saying, quote, I think he's precariously close to not being on the team anymore as they weigh in on the Maple Leafs plan for John Klingberg. Now, whether you want to believe him is up to you or not, but I tend to follow the same line of thinking as they did. The situation is so strange. Sheldon Keefe, as I'll show you screenshots in a little bit here, was asked to elaborate on the John Klingberg injury situation. He refused to do so. He was supposed to be healthy a while ago, and now he's traveling to Sweden, but won't play with the team supposedly tomorrow. Are they holding him out for a trade? Are they holding him out because they don't want him on the ice because he's been horrible? Is the injury even real? Is it fake? All these questions are circulating, and the situation is just getting super, super strange. You have this Banksy tweeting that I haven't seen a photo of John Klingberg in Sweden. Now, supposedly he has traveled to Sweden, but again, no pictures of him. Is he getting shipped out? It's seeming increasingly likely that the Leafs defenseman that we signed this offseason is on his way out of Toronto. Now, it's not confirmed or anything like that, but we've seen his name circulate in tons of trade reports revolving around Nikita Zadorov once he requested a trade and said he was open to coming to Toronto. And it just keeps on. The rumors just keep on circulating. And this guy says that if the Leafs acquired Zadorov and Tanev, they need to both come in at 50% retained. My offer would look something like a first Klingberg, Timmins, mid-level prospect, and of course, Abs. Super, that might be a bit too much. And again, it seems weird that Klingberg would be shipped out in a package for Nikita Zadorov or Chris Tanev or both, but it also makes sense salary-wise why they would. But again, it's up to the Flames and if they would want a guy like Klingberg. And I think a package like this would make sense. Klingberg for the salaries, then some prospect. Timmins is a very, very good prospect as well, and he's on his way back from injury. But it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense as to why Calgary would want Klingberg unless they're shipping him to a third team and then get prospects back. Or if they just want to shake up, I guess, their defensive line and bring in a guy who's better, more offensive-minded. But it just seems like all the buzz is about a trade. It's just getting stranger and stranger. And this was a very interesting poll. It said, I don't think any Leafs fans believe Klingberg has a legitimate injury, but is that injury because they're keeping him on their options then open to long-term IRing him, or are they ensuring he doesn't actually get injured because a trade is imminent? And most people tend to think that a trade is close. Some people think neither. He's really hurt. The LTIR option is another interesting one revolving around. I've been manipulating the cap a little bit. I don't know if they want to sink his cap hit or what's going on. What I do know is that John Klingberg's situation is not at all what we wanted, what you expected coming into the season. When we signed him, we were for 4.25 or 4.125 million. We expected him to be producing a solid amount for the amount we're paying him. Obviously, he had a very, very poor last season, riddled by injuries a little bit, and we were just expecting that hopefully he could go back to his old self. Unfortunately, that is not happening. And as you can see here from Sheldon Keefe, he was asked if he can share the nature of John Klingberg's injury, and his response was no. Klingberg expected to practice this week in Stockholm, but may not tomorrow. And we haven't had an update on him yet today, which is a little bit unfortunate. And looking at John Klingberg's stats here, if he could go back to the Dallas Stars, John Klingberg, like many Leafs fans were hoping, 2017, 2018, it would be ideal. So far in 14 games, he put up 5 points, but his defensive stats have been horrendous. We've seen him cost the Leafs a couple of goals, a couple of games, if you want to go that far, when he fell down on the ice there what seems like a while ago before his phantom injury. In theory, who knows what's happening with Klingberg? All I do know is that this situation is getting weird. It's getting sketchy. It's getting scary a little bit if you're a Leafs fan, because I would rather at least see him play, let him play if he isn't injured. Again, I would assume he actually is injured, but with all the rumors going around that he could be getting traded and could be getting traded very, very soon, that begs the question of how injured is he actually, or is a trade incoming with John Klingberg to the Calgary Flames or another team, depending on how they want to shore up that defensive line. But again, like I discussed in prior videos regarding Nikita Zadorov and Chris Tanev, for salaries to match, obviously Klingberg would be an easy plug and play for making that trade happen if they want to acquire both of them in one deal. Again, it would cost giving up a lot of assets if you do want to acquire both Chris Tanev and Nikita Zadorov. But again, do the Leafs want to give up on John Klingberg this early? It seems like maybe they do. Again, he was just signed this past offseason. It's not like he's been with the Leafs for any period of time. He's been with them for 14 games. He had a really injury-riddled season with the Wild last year, putting up 9 points in 17 games. But we all expected coming into the season that maybe he could be a shadow of himself when he played with the Stars, putting up 60-point seasons. It would be an ideal fit for the Maple Leafs. But it hasn't worked out. The defensive core of the Leafs is pretty brutal right now. We have Connor Timmins on the way back, which will help. We have Jake McCabe on the way back, or we have Jake McCabe back, who will help as well. But besides that, we obviously have Morgan Rielly, who's been unbelievable to start the year. We need depth in the blue line. It's simple as that. Brad Treliving needs to make a trade, and he needs to make one fairly soon, especially if this John Klingberg situation is going to keep getting dragged on, whether he's injured or not. Even if he is injured, there's no signs that he's going to really be coming back anytime in the near future, and each game matters more and more for the Leafs as they continue to battle for the division title. And again, Sheldon Keefe asked if he could share the injury. This is so strange to me. They will not share the nature of his injuries. That means either for some reason they don't want to do it, or a trade could be coming, or they're kind of just, maybe he's slightly injured and they want to hold him out. Now, if you rewind when the injury first happened about a week or so ago, correct me if I'm wrong, I think about a week or so ago, Sheldon Keefe was asked about the injury, and he had a similar thing to say. He said, you know, he's injured, but it could be a good time for a mental reset for him because of how poor he's been playing. He didn't word it like that, but it's essentially what he was saying, how bad he's been playing over the past couple of weeks and how bad the start of his season was. It could be interesting to see how he does after a potential break, and this break has lasted a lot longer than us Leafs fans wanted. Whether you like John Klingberg as a player or not, whether you think he's impacted the team or not, we want him back. Obviously, some of our prospects who've called up have been doing okay. Benoit's been doing okay, players like that, but at the end of the day, we want to see the guy who we gave $4 million to, how he will perform when he comes back, and how he will hopefully make an impact to this team. And if not, then go ahead and, trade him. If they're going to trade him, we'll get back a couple of key guys, but I just want this to end. It's just so strange. It's so murky. There's a lot of weird things going on. He's not being shown in Sweden. Sheldon Keefe won't answer questions. So let me know in the comment section down below what you think this Klingberg situation is. Do you think it's because of a trade is happening? Do you think they're going to go with the long-term IR route? Or do you think he is actually hurt and we're all overthinking this? Now, one quick final topic before we do wrap up this video is on Patrick Kane, and reports have surfaced today, and we'll probably go more in depth about this maybe in tomorrow's video, but reports surfaced today that after hearing earlier in the week that Pete Kane was to meet with the Maple Leafs on Tuesday, I can confirm that meeting did not happen. Leafs sources reached out to say it did not happen, so I made a video last night saying, because reports came out that they were meeting with the Leafs, or that at the time of recording yesterday, which was Wednesday, all sources indicated that he had met with the Leafs. However, it seems like that meeting has not happened. We do not know the reason why. Is it likely that Kane signs with the Maple Leafs at this point? It is not. However, I'll keep you updated regarding the Patrick Kane situation. Just wanted to throw that out there for all you Patrick Kane fans who thought that they met on Tuesday. Reports were wrong, and everyone somehow got that wrong. Or at the very least, they were reported to meet on Tuesday, and then Patrick Kane or one of the sides backed out. Maybe it was the Leafs because of how good Nick Robertson and those players have been producing. But that'll wrap up the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully John Klingberg's situation gets resolved soon. And Patrick Kane, what an interesting thing to keep your eye out on. He would help in the PK. But other than that, that'll wrap up the video. Thank you guys for watching. And we'll see you tomorrow. And hopefully they can take the win in Sweden.